we have wider deficit budget. So only deficit financing. So we can't continue to rely on crude oil. We can't continue to rely on crude oil. For example, now you just calculated that what I want to sell this year, what I want to generate 10 naira this year, and of course I'm going to sell a pen for 5 naira all through the year. So Nigeria already estimated to sell their crude oil at $75 per barrel in the budget. But unfortunately, as of this morning, oil price is down to $3 per barrel. It might still go down.
So but if it's going down, it's going to be to the advantage of Nigerians, don't you think so?
That is talking about
the price will reduce.
Talking about the fuel prices. We're talking about crude oil price for Nigeria. So that's what the budget was benchmarked on. So when crude oil price in the national market begins to go down, then the economy begins to shrink. You have deficit budget. In fact, I still don't see how Nigeria will cope this year without a supplementary budget, because the deficit will keep widening. We even projected oil in the budget. We projected that we will sell oil for $75 per barrel. And of course, we're going to produce about 2 million barrels per day. Since the beginning of this year, we've been averaging 1.5 million barrels per day. And of course, oil price is now below around $60 per barrel. So which means, as time goes on, the federal government will have no money to prosecute these programs. It's infrastructure program. Because why? So we will now be forced to borrow. We widen the deficit in the budget. So what I'm saying is that a way out of this is taxation. We need to look at non-oil taxes. So that's what all these bills want to address. So I don't even expect National Assembly to even delay this bill up to this moment, because it's already happening now that we are having, we're having low revenue from the oil prices. And as well, let me give you something. You know that we have over 16 federal government taxes in Nigeria at the moment. We have over 25 state government taxes at the moment. And we have over 21 local government taxes in Nigeria at the moment. This is very cumbersome. Totally 62 taxes all over the country.
That Nigerians are paying.
So this is very cumbersome. And of course, this gives room for state actors to extort money from the people. So that is what this bill is going to solve. So I never expected this bill to stay this long at the National Assembly. So let me give you an example again. To make matters worse, there are some nuisance taxes, I'm very sorry for using that word, being collected by some non-state actors like agberos, like touts, like unions, which are illegal. So this makes matters worse. They even collect from people. From people. So let me tell you for example now, these unions, they forcefully extort, because I want to call it collect, they extort. They forcefully extort about 108 illegal taxes at bus stops, at parking lots, at parks, motor parks. These are illegal taxes. It's not that common in another part of the country. If you go to the south-south, to the southwest, they're very common. They are about 108 illegal taxes being collected.
Is the federal government not aware of that? Why are they silent?
Illegal taxes.
But why is the federal government silent about it? The authorities,
that is what this reform bill are going to solve.
Okay, that's the reason this reform bill is coming.
I expect this bill to stay this long.
So you belong to the people who said it didn't delay.
In Lagos State, the agberos, you know that they rake in over 123 billion naira annually from collection from tricycles, motorcycles, and buses. From their daily operation, over 123 billion naira monthly. These are illegal taxes. And you know that this amount is about 30% of legal GDP in 2020. Unfortunately, they all disappeared to private pockets. So these are what all these bills are going to address. These illegal taxes will be scrapped. So I never expected this bill to even stay up to 6 months at the National Assembly. And of course, these present tax laws emphasize much on personal income tax. So it unduly burdens businesses. For example, in some states, you even have bicycle taxes, wheelbarrow taxes, and all forms of taxes that are not idealistic. How can somebody be pushing wheelbarrow on the road to make ends meet, and you stop him, tell him to come and pay tax? That's wickedness.
You know what they do? They don't even call it tax. They will just tell them you need to pay levies, yes, so rates, market rates, and all of that.
So that's what this bill.
So all those things are amounts to taxes.
So the aim of this reform bill is to really, really reduce tax earnings to just 10 and harmonize the collecting agencies in the country. So that's a major aim of this bill.
So these bills now, they are into different, you just categorized them, the Nigerian bill, the administration bill, and all of that. What does it really entails, each of these bills?
Okay, let's start by the Nigerian tax bill. The Nigerian tax bills really, should I say, really codifies different tax laws. You know, there are multiple laws. So it's really consolidates multiple tax laws into a single document and also introduces new reforms into the taxation system. For example, if I can state it clearly, I can divide Nigerian two laws into two parts. There are some tax laws. For example, the Company Income Tax Act, the Personal Income Tax Act, the Stamp Duty Act tax, the Capital Gain Tax Act. Those are specific tax laws. So there are also some laws that are not tax laws, but they contain some tax exigencies. For example, you have the Tax Fund Act, the Nasini Act, so the PI, the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA. So these are not tax laws, but they contain some tax laws. So what this tax reform bill is now to do is that is now codifying all these tax laws into a single document that will be called the Nigerian Tax Act when passed by the president. So each chapter of this Nigerian tax bill, when passed, Nigerian Tax Act, when passed, will be dedicated to each type of tax. Chapter 1 now will be dedicated to Stamp Duty Act. Chapter 2 to Capital Gain Tax Act. Number 3, Personal Income Tax Act. They will be contained in a single document. So, which is different from what we have now, that we have millions of tax acts running in the economy. So, it really consolidates multiple tax laws into a single document, and also it also introduces a lot of reforms into the economy. So, for example, now I want to talk about tax. In this new bill, they retain tax at 7.5%. Initially, the proposal to the National Assembly was that they should increase tax VAT, that's value-added tax, to 10% this year. So then subsequently 15% till it will culminate at 20% by 2020. But the National Assembly felt that people are going through a lot and they shouldn't increase VAT. So the bill, the harmonized one now, retain the value-added tax at 7.5%, but with significant shift. They retain at 7.5%, but with a significant shift, allowing VAT input claims on some items like overhead cost, like fixed asset, and all that. So also, this Nigerian tax bill, brought out a formula now for sharing the value-added tax. Like I said on this program earlier, you can remember there's a sharing formula for sharing tax and VAT. There's a vertical formula. This vertical formula is the formula to share the the proceeds from VAT among the federal government, the state government, and the local government. So in this new bill now, 35% of this proceeds from VAT will go to the local government. Only 10% will go to the federal government. While 55% will be shared among the 36 states and the FCT. That's the horizontal sharing formula for VAT. So among these 55% going to state, there's also, that's the vertical sharing formula rather. There's also horizontal sharing formula to be used among the 36 states and the FCT. So that was what generated a lot of issues the other time with some of the country feeling that there might be, short change in the new formula. So the new formula in the bill states that among the 55% going to the state and the FCT, 50% should be shared based on equity. So they're going to share 50% equally among the state government and the FCT. So why 30% will be shared based on consumption? That's where is the VAT being consumed. For example, now if it's VAT on card now bought in Enugu, charge card, to go to Enugu. If the VAT was consumed in Kano, to go to Kano. The remaining 20% will be shared based on equity. We shared equally among the state and the FCT. So that's the new revenue sharing formula in the Nigerian tax bill. In the Nigerian tax bill. Then also it retains development levy funding. It retains some development levy funding.
Let me come in at this point. Do you think that sharing formula is going to favor all the states. Are you sure everyone is going to be in terms with that sharing formula? Because some persons may tell you, well, this sharing formula may favor people at the north and don't favor people at the west, or vice versa. More transactions happen here and they will take the lion's share and all of that. Are you sure this sharing formula, this new sharing formula is going to favor all the states? Are you sure they are going to accept it?
Yeah, Mr. Raleigh, definitely they will. You remember, this sharing formula generated a lot of controversies, like we said earlier, with some of the country thinking it might not really, be to their advantage. But, there was, they really treat open to people. There were some, how do I put it now? There's some panels, and of course people were allowed to come and make their input. So later on, people realized that the sharing formula has to be, you don't need to neglect consumption on the sharing formula. Because why? Some state feels that they are the one producing, and they are the one, how can I put it now? Some states feels that the items you are getting on this VAT was being consumed in their state. And if you can remember, there's still an existing case between Rivers State and Lagos State on one hand, and the federal government, based on VAT and the Supreme Court. With these two states saying VAT should be collected by state government, not federal government. So you need to please them as well, so that they will not also continue their case against the federal government. So I think this is the best formula, sharing formula you can arrive at, by making 50% to be based on equity. We're going to share it equal among, among the whole 30 states.
30 states.
And the IFCT. Then 20% is being shared based on population. While the remaining 30% is now being shared based on consumption of where the VAT was really consumed, so that states with high population that are, that VAT have been, with items that VAT is being collected on, will not feel cheated, that we are contributing this much to the economy, but only few amount to be, shared to us. Then also, this tax reform bills retain some development levy funding framework for some, should I say, critical agencies, because in the former tax law, there's some agencies that are considered to be very essential to the country. So there's a sharing formula for them. This proposal, when it was sent to National Assembly, they proposed that the funding should be phased out for these agencies. They are like TET Fund, Net Fund, NASENI, NITDA, and all that. So this new bill now brought out a new formula on how to share this funding, development levy funding among the agencies. So TET Fund will now get 50% of the share, while the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, these are Net Fund, will get 15%. NASENI will get 10%. NITDA will get 10%. The Security Development Fund, Defense Security Fund, will get 10% as well, while National Cyber Security Fund will get 5% of development levy funding framework. If you can remember, as we were at National Assembly protesting that they should not face away TET Fund a few months ago when they were having public hearings on these bills. So finally, they really threw out the proposal in that bill that said they should phase out fundings for these critical agencies. So
okay. So TET Fund now is going to retain funding for special funding for TET Fund
for them. NASENI, Net Fund, and all of that, they retain the sharing formula for them. Initially in the bill, it was proposed that funding for them should be phased out. But National Assembly removed that section of the bill, so they retained it.
But TET Fund is doing so much, so I don't think they should even phase out TET Fund, because we've asked Nigerian students who've been from one school to the other, and we discovered that schools benefited. It could even amaze you that we went to a particular school, and a student, all right, a student told us that there are some newbies, new entries, all right, that think TET Fund is a department, because everywhere, everything was painted. Yeah, you come to a department, the interventions are obvious. And some students, I think it's a good move in the right direction that TET Fund is going to be getting their funding. But then...
Sorry, we still have another one, the Nigerian Revenue Service.
Okay,
yeah,
that's true.
The second bill. So there's bills now, I want to transform the Federal Revenue Service into Nigerian Revenue Service. They want to widen their scope of tax collection. So the name will now be changed to Nigerian Revenue Service. There are some consequential amendments to the Petroleum Industry Act, whereby they transfer some fiscal administration duties, like royalties, residual profit tax. The collection now will now be done. This new Nigerian Revenue Service now will be collecting some taxes that have been collected by some agencies before. For example, royalties from oil companies and residual profit tax will now be collected by this new Nigerian Revenue Service. So they've widened their scope, and of course, it also introduces some operational and structural reforms to the Nigerian Revenue Service. So the service now, the board of the service now will be headed by the president of the country. So President Tinubu now will be the board chairman of the new Nigerian Revenue Service, while it will be headed by an executive vice chairman. We can remember at the moment the FRS is being headed by an executive chairman, but in this new bill,
will be headed by the president.
Will be the chairman of the board. In this current, at the moment now, the FRS chairman is the chairman of FRS board. So, but in this Nigerian Revenue Service, the board chairman will be the president, while the head of the agency will not be the chairman again, will now be the executive vice chairman. So they will now appoint directors, 6 directors from each geographical zone with a regional system to ensure that no executive vice chairman and no executive director come from the same geopolitical zone. So also, they reduce the cost of collection for Nigerian Revenue Service to 2%. At the moment, whatever FRS gets in a year, they give them 4%.
How much was it before? What was the percentage?
They give them 4%. So that's what they used to run the agency.
But now it's reduced to 2%.
So now in the bill, it was proposed to 3%. But this former Vice Chancellor Governor, Senator Saraki Dixon, during the
session, the plenary session.
So he argued that because they are now collecting money from oil.
Yeah, the oil subsidy.
Significant improvement in their collection, that it would be too much for them to handle. To be like, just according to him, they'll now be having about 16 state budget. He felt it would be too much for them. They should reduce the cost of collection to 2%. So in the bill, the cost of collection for the new Nigerian Revenue Service is now 2% compared to the 3% that we have at the moment. Then also, there's the Joint Revenue Board bill before the national, among the tax harmonized bill. So that Joint Revenue bill really seeks to create a formal framework for coordination among the federal tax agencies and the state tax agencies. And you know that it wants to create an umbrella body to coordinate, the new Nigerian Revenue Service now and the subnationals, that's the State Land Revenue Service. So we'll be coordinating them. At the moment, there's a Joint Tax Board, so they want to change that name to Joint Revenue Board. So widen the scope. Also, I think it aims to harmonize all tax policies according to the state and the federal government. We have tax policies here from federal government, we have here from state government, we have from local government. So this Joint Revenue Board will aim to harmonize all the tax policies, across the state. And also, it also aims to, reduce instances of multiple taxation. You don't have state government going to collect tax from this person, the federal government also coming to collect tax from these companies. So it's going to reduce the instance of that. And also, they will not have a jurisdiction overlap. This is your area, this is your jurisdiction, this is for state, this is for local government. So they will not be overlapping a jurisdiction in their functions. So that is what this is.
That's true, because the overlapping has caused problems in the past where somebody will say, this is my jurisdiction, this other person will say, this is my jurisdiction. All right, let's go on a quick break. It is still the desk. After the break, we'll return. And we're looking at the state of the economy. And of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 2 years in office. And we're tying it to the harmonization of the bill, the harmonization bill, the harmonized bill. The 3 bills, all right, is what we are looking at today. And we have a tax expert and an economist talking to us on the program today. So after the break, we'll come back and we'll look at some very critical areas in the harmonized bill. Remember, the bill was just passed 2 days ago and is waiting for the president to assent to it. After this break, the desk continues. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break. It is still the desk. Well, we have Dennis Adese. As a matter of fact, he's an economist and a tax expert, and he's given us a breakdown of the tax. This overlapping that you're talking about, can you just give us a better explanation, more explanation about that overlapping, as in this one is coming to collect, this one is coming to collect, and all of that? And it's part of the reason why Nigerians are paying so much. Remember, you've told us that this bill, this harmonized bill, is going to benefit Nigerians, is going to better the life of Nigerians, because what Nigerians are thinking about right now is how the economy can be stable. And of course, they are paying so much, hike everywhere. But then a lot of taxes being collected, especially the unsolicited taxes from the unions and all of that, like you mentioned. I never knew they were making that much. Who is this money going to? These are questions Nigerians are asking. The Agberos, the union, 1001 unions who are collecting these billions, where is it going to? Are the authorities not aware of that? Well, that's by the way. Now let's talk about this harmonized bill right now, because the next question that I want to ask you is about the bill too. So now, as it is, what are the benefits of these bills to Nigerian economy? Because that's very important. Because no matter how robust any bill is right now, and it's not doing anything to the economy, all right, not ameliorating the economic situation of the country. I don't know if Nigerians will really be appreciative of such bill. So let's look at its importance, how necessary it is to the economy of the nation.
Thank you very much, Sir Ramsey. We've analyzed the economy, the bills, one after the other. So the bills, like I said earlier, has many potential benefits to the economy. Firstly, and the most important is that this bill will definitely raise Nigerian revenue profile. You know, when assented by the president, when signed into law, we expect this bill to increase Nigerian revenue generation. Like we said earlier, we are facing cash come from oil, from oil, from oil revenue. We're not getting much from there. So we need to look into non-oil taxes. So definitely, when these bills are passed to law, it will definitely increase our revenue generation, because it will create an enabling environment for business to thrive. It will create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive. Also, it will really transform our tax system to support sustainable development, because at the moment, Nigerian tax system does not support robust economy. For example, our tax to GDP ratio is just 10.8%. This is too low. It's among the lowest in the world. What do I mean by tax to GDP ratio? It means that it means that the amount of money you get from revenue compared to the size of the economy. How much do you generate from taxation compared to the whole economy, to the size of the GDP? That's what I mean by tax to GDP ratio. So ours is about 10.8, so which is one of the lowest in the world. It's even below the African average of, I think it's 16.5%. That's the African average. So ours is even below the African average. So this tax reform bill will really transform the Nigerian tax system so that it can, support economy. It can, so that it can support the Nigerian economy by widening the economy and, of course, increasing the tax to GDP ratio to at least 18% in the next 3 years. We expect that when the bills are signed to law, Nigerian tax to GDP ratio will at least increase to about 18% in the next 3 years. Also, this bill, when signed into law, I expect this bill personally to bring relief to Nigerians in 2 ways. The first thing is that to individual now, according to this new bill now, any individual and not earning up to 1 million naira annually will be exempted from paying personal income tax.
Oh, if you're not earning
now is 1 million naira or below, you'll be exempted from paying personal income tax. And I can assure you that about 90% of Nigeria earn below 100,000 naira monthly. So which means a lot of Nigerians will not be paying taxes when this bill, will not be paying personal income tax when this bill is being passed into law. So it will be a relief to Nigerians, at least to cushion the hardship, to cushion the effect of the hardship people are passing through. Also, for business and companies now, companies have been divided into two parts now. We have the small businesses and, of course, the large businesses. So if your annual turnover as a business is not up to 15 million naira, you are not paying taxes again. So they are being exempted from paying company income taxes
At all.
at all. So only businesses with annual turnover above 50 million will pay company income tax.
What was
And if you agree with me that in Nigeria, about 90% of the businesses here are, small and micro size companies, let me say businesses, they fall within that category. So I can assure you that most of Nigerian companies now will not be paying taxes. Only the big companies like the MTS of this world, the Zenith banks, they are the ones to be paying taxes. So they will be relief to companies. And of course, let me tell you that over 80% of job creation in Nigeria are being done by these small and micro-sized enterprises. So definitely it will expand the business. When they don't pay tax again, the profit will increase. When the profit increase, it will expand the business. When the business expands, they will employ more people. It will create employment. So to be relief to Nigerians, to companies, because these are the provisions in that law. And at the same time, we talked about VAT the other time. I can tell you that these bills has removed VAT on essential items that affect the common people, that affect their daily lives. So there's no longer VAT on food, food, additional products, items for babies, a lot of things, education and all that. They remove VAT from them, healthcare, you don't pay VAT on them anymore. So to be relief to Nigerians that these people, to be relief to Nigeria that VAT collection of these items have been removed.
All right, that's beautiful. I wanted to ask a question when you said, well, if you're not making up to 1 million, you won't be paying tax. What would they use in assessing how much a particular business is earning, and how would they know what a particular company is earning to exempt them from the tax? Will there be external auditors to audit these companies or these businesses? How would they know? Or based on physical assessment?
Okay, no, thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Actually, those unpaid employment, they are expected. Actually, everybody is expected to file returns to the tax authorities. This is what I'm earning. This is what I'm earning this year. So you will now be taxed based on the assessment. You will now be assessed based on the fines that you have already returned to them. So what you do now is that if you're on paid job, your employer will send who remit the tax, send to them. Your employer will fill the form on your behalf, will file returns on your behalf. This is how much he's earning, this is how much I'm getting from him. So if you're not earning up to ₦1 million annually, you are totally exempted from paying the tax. And if you're not on paid job, for example, you are able to declare you are able to file your returns. This is what I'm earning. So you'll be assessed based on the files that you return, based on the file that you have filed, returns you have filed. So if those returns they are not up to ₦1 million, you'll be exempted from paying tax. Why for companies? We expect companies to keep record of the account. So if you are earning up to ₦50 million, if your profit is up to ₦50 million in a year, then you pay tax. But if it's less than ₦50 million, you are exempted from paying company income tax.
Yes, you said something when we're starting. You talked about the fact that some big persons in quotes don't pay tax. And, it has been something that a lot of people have been saying. But I look at it personally as an allegation. But then a lot of Nigerians believe that the big men, the elite, don't really pay tax. All right. So now, is there anything that can be done against non-compliance?
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, these reform bills really transform the entire fiscal space in the country. So there's some penalties and fines for tax evaders and tax avoiders in these new bills. So the first one is that, and I think most Nigerians are not even aware yet. So when signed into law, these new bills entails that failure of anyone to register with our property tax authority attracts a fine of 100,000 naira in the first month, and with an additional 50,000 naira in each additional month. So what I'm saying is that if you fail to register with a tax authority, for example, now if you're an FCT, if you're here now in Abuja, if you fail to register with FCT Internal Revenue Service, or you are in Lagos, you fail to register with Lagos Internal Revenue Service, you'll be fined 100,000 naira in the first month. And each subsequent month, you are liable to be fined 50,000 naira pending when you register with the tax authority. And also, if you fail to file your returns to the appropriate tax authority, you will be fined 200,000 naira in the first month, and subsequently 50,000 naira each additional month. So what it means that, according to the law, you ought to file your returns. Everybody ought to file returns on or before March 31st of a particular year. You file returns for the previous year. So, Mr. Ramsey, I'm not sure that you already filed your returns this year. So, by March for this year, you are going to file your return. This is how much I earned last year. You file to.
But see, this thing is sounding, Dennis, it's sounding very sweet, but then compliance, and of course, it's sounding very sweet, but then, you know, Nigeria.
When signed into law, this bill, that's why I said that this bill will increase compliance rate.
Are you sure some big men, in quote, will not still invade this? Are you sure they won't beat this? This non-compliance rules, are you sure they won't beat it?
Signed into law, when it's being signed into law, definitely we expect it to increase compliance rate.
All right.
It's a difference entirely. Like I was saying as well, for example, failure to keep record for an individual will attract a fine of 10,000 naira.
If you don't keep your record, your business record straight.
Why for companies, if you fail to keep business record, you pay a fine of 100,000 naira.
Wow.
And of course, let me tell you one thing, Mr. Murphy. Tax offenders this time around will face up to 3 years imprisonment, depending on the severity of the violations. So it's a different board entirely from the former tax act.
All right, our time is up already. This is sounding very interesting because a lot of people believe, well, we won't pay tax, or maybe we cut corners. When these tax collectors come, you just give them something small and they go. But then if you are doing that, you are implicating yourself. That's what it means right now if this bill is being passed. As a matter of fact, for the assembly, for the House, it has been passed already, waiting for the president to assent to it so that it becomes a full-fledged standing bill, talking about the harmonization bill and, of course, its impact on the economy. This is one of the major things that this administration have actually done, and a lot of Nigerians are applauding it. But then let's wait and see how it is going to go. Is it going to be feasible? Are some people really going to escape from it? Are some people really going to beat the process? The enforcement, the accountability, are they all going to be in place? All of this will be monitored, and of course, details will be communicated to you. So many thanks, Dennis, for joining us on the desk today.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. It's always a pleasure being here.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us on the Desk tonight. The Desk will come on your way again for the next edition, and that's going to be on Monday. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now, and have a wonderful weekend ahead of you.